Hello, this is Building Cultural Competence in Elementary Schools, Improving Cultural Understanding and Student Learning by me, Ashley Utton. So to start off with for the introduction, I have my research question, which is how does cultural competence in elementary schools improve students' cultural understanding, engagement, and academic success? But why does this matter? This matters because elementary classrooms are increasingly diverse with students from diverse cultural backgrounds, languages, and experiences. Cultural differences influence how students communicate, learn, and interact with one another. By developing cultural competence, teachers can create inclusive environments where all students can succeed. But what is cultural competence? Cultural competence is the ability to understand, respect, support, and respond to students from diverse cultural backgrounds. Cultural competence requires reflection, learning, and adapting teaching practices to meet student needs. Cultural responsive teaching. Culturally responsive teaching uses students' cultural experiences, identities, and knowledge to build inclusive instruction. This teaching method makes learning more meaningful, relevant, and engaging for students. But what are the benefits? For academic benefits, it increases student engagement, improves academic achievement, helps students connect to their learning experiences. Research shows that when students can see their culture in their learning, they are more motivated to learn. Also, it affects the social and emotional. So some social and emotional benefits include increases sense of belonging, promotes respect among peers, and promotes identity. Inclusive classrooms help students feel more valued and supported by their peers and educators. Cultural competence in classrooms. To create an inclusive learning environment, teachers may feature diverse cultures through books, visuals, and other materials while encouraging students' voices and identities. It is also important to build strong relationships with students and families. It is important for teachers to view students' cultural backgrounds as strengths rather than barriers. Teachers should focus on building on students' home knowledge, valuing cultural differences, and avoiding stereotypes. So for our first strategy, it's know your students. Teachers can build cultural competence by learning about students' backgrounds and identities, understanding students' strengths and interests, communicating with families. By understanding diverse cultural backgrounds, teachers can create more inclusive and diverse learning environments for their students by being able to make a very specific learning environment. The second strategy is inclusive instructions. Teachers should include diverse text and materials, connect lessons to real-world examples, and encourage students to demonstrate their learning in multiple ways. By incorporating inclusive instructions, teachers can make learning more meaningful and accessible for students. And for the third strategy, we have family engagement. Educators should build strong relationships with families, treat families as partners in their child's education, and include community knowledge during lessons. Teachers can build trust with their students by including their communities and families in their learning, which leads to student success. And very importantly, teachers should reflect on their own cultural biases and understand how their teaching practices may affect different learners to help build cultural competence. Student impacts. So, an example of cultural competence in classrooms is a teacher could read stories from different cultures, ask students to share different family traditions, and include discussions on different cultures. This would build literacy and cultural understanding while also supporting diverse education. Cultural competence is important because it leads to higher student engagement, improved outcomes, and stronger relationships with teacher and peers, and greater cultural awareness. So, for statistics. A study was conducted and found that 80% of teachers in the United States are white, while their students are much more diverse. There are around 50.7 million students in public schools in the United States, of whom only are 47% white. This means that most students do not come from the same cultural background as their teacher. Overall, the study found that several teachers reported being unsure how to incorporate diverse and inclusive learning in their teaching. The study highlights the importance of cultural understanding, strong student-teacher relationships, and inclusive teaching methods. These are my references, and thank you for listening.